Hello friends, George here and welcome to my channel. A small update of the current state of my 3D renderer, which I wrote originally for the Commodore Plus 4 and which I ported to the C language with Oscar64, the cross compiler. And good news, I've ported the Plus 4 version to the Commodore 64. Since the Commodore 64 community is a much bigger community than the Plus 4, and I know that many of the Plus 4 fans are also C64 fans and vice versa. So I thought that I also port the renderer also to the C64. And this is the current state, the result. It's not perfect, a lot to optimize and to do, but I think the main functionalities are here. So we can translate the cube here. It's, by the way, 100% of the original speed. So it's original speed here. Now we can rotate the cube and every axis, X, Y, and Z. We can scale the model here. So I made a mistake here. Oh no. I thought it's a bug here when we exceed the borders here. The engine has some glitches and you destroy the model, the memory. Maybe I can, yet here you can see. So this is maybe an optimization for the future, but I think the main functions are implemented, and I must say that the C64 version, since I'm using here the library of the Oscar64 cross compiler, since the Oscar64 cross compiler was originally written for the Commodore 64, it provides a lot of functions which I can use. For example, the line for the drawing line function here, which is optimized. This is the old function from the Commodore Plus 4. And you also have the initialization for the graphic mode, which is much more elegant here for the C64. So the idea was, since the cross compiler Oscar64, as the name says, is for the Commodore 64, and there is interest in many of you C64 guys to have this program on the C64. Many of you also have the ultimate version, and to try this out here. I had some problems here porting the code, since the C64 is in a few things a little different from the Plus 4. But first, let me show you some other models to render. Let's take the TIE Fighter here. There's a difference here to the Plus 4 version. The names of the files here must be like this here, in small letters and without the PRG suffix. And you have to set the device emulator, right, host file system device, to the directory you located the PRG file and the planes the vertex files. And when starting the machine, you have to choose this here, auto start PRG on virtual file system. So there's also a bug here. I cannot switch the borders here to black again. So let us start the program again. I will speed up the loading process here a little. So now these are some information about the model. These are the vertex counts. Here are the face count. So you can, my tests here showed that I can render models up to 1000 vertices, which is a lot, I think. And I will speed this here up, just the loading. And I will show you how this model looks like on the C64. Well, it's the TIE Fighter, which many of you like. I like it. It's one of my first models, which I rendered. So here is the TIE Fighter. So let's go again on 100%. So you can rotate the model with the keys A, W, S, D, and Q and E. So I press A here, and the model is rotated to the left, and you can see 121, 22, 23, 24, 25, in 5 seconds. Okay, let us do it again. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. 12 seconds to render. I think this is about 600 vertices. And compared to my first version of the 3D-Renderer, which I wrote in BASIC, this is a great speed up. So let us rotate it a little more. I will speed it up. So again, a little speed up here. And with the plus key, I can scale the model. One more. Okay. And now when I press the P key, I will apply the painter's algorithm. So now it fills out the faces with the background color and draws every face from the back to the front. And you can see you can see here that this panel here overlaps the sphere. That is rotated to make it more clear. So this is the painter's algorithm. So you can see here the panel overlaps the sphere. If I opt out of the painter's algorithm, you can see the panels are transparent. So friends, that's the current state. I've uploaded the code on GitHub. I will put the link in the description, and you can find the renderer here, Oscar64. I put a few of the models to play around if you like. So let's go a little through the code. Some of the differences to the +4 version. First of all, here the memory range, if I can call it so, is a little different. So you can have other libraries here. The init high-res function is different since we have the VIC chip here. So this is the same. Then the draw lines function are these which are provided by Oscar64. Here I struggled a little with the key functions here. On the C64 it's done a little different. So I have to figure it out how to do it. So you have this key poll function here, and you can check which keys are pressed. And where I struggled a little is that the Commodore 64 has I think a down and a right key, and with the shift pressed you can have an up key, for example, and with shift pressed you can have the left key. And to figure this out, because I'm not a C64 guy, it took me a while. But these are the challenges which make programming fun. Even the AI couldn't help me here. So here's a bug when I press the frame. I press the B key to see where the screen ends. But if I press it again, I don't know. Doesn't work. Maybe it's a bug in Oscar64. I don't know. I have on the +4 version the C key, which inverts the colors here, so that we can have filled faces in green and the lines are black. Looks a little better on screen, but this is not working also. So what's missing is double buffering. I left it out to show how the engine works. Text and high-res mode, I left it out because I think it would reduce the amount of memory which we have for the models, same as for the double buffer. So I left it out. So friends, I think this is for today. Thank you for watching. I wish you all a nice day or evening, depending on where you are, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.